special edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. I'm your host, Chris Eaton. Okay, I've been toying with putting this stuff out for the last few months. A lot of it was due to the article that I wrote for my main site, realmcast.com, on well, it all stems from more than that. This is gonna be it's gonna be a very weird episode, but it's gonna be an interesting episode. I'm just gonna put it out there like that. Back in May, I believe I talked about it like two or three episodes ago. I went to the Hollywood press event for Chaiyo, the Thai company that infamously has the Ultraman license for worldwide distribution. Now, I know there's a ton of shenanigans wrapped around Chaiyo, but we were invited, or I was invited out along with Paula from the Tokusatsu Network to cover it. We were pretty much the only American press of any sort that were there. This all took place in the Thai Palace off Hollywood Boulevard on Mother's Day of all days. So just prefacing the location and situation. It was a surreal experience to say the least. So what I was thinking of doing, because I didn't have my camera at the time. We were in the middle of shooting something like another show or something. So unfortunately, my camera was with my friend and my editor over at Realmcast, and this was pretty much a last second thing. So I had my handy recorder and I had my phone, so I was able to take a few small snippets. I will be putting this whole thing up in on YouTube, and if you watch the YouTube version, you'll see pictures I haven't released yet of the event. So what you're going to hear is what I recorded at the Chaiyo Ultraman press event. So it's not gonna be the best quality. Pretty much, I had my my recorder like sitting out on a table. To give you a little kind of build here, the restaurant they held in was a Thai restaurant at the Thai Palace or Thailand Palace, like I said, in Hollywood. It's a very large restaurant. It has a band stage. So when I walked in, normal restaurant, operations are going on. So I thought I was in the wrong place at first until I kind of walked further in. It's a fairly decent sized restaurant, and in the back there's all these Ultraman standees. There's a table set up, and then there's a big banner with Ultraman, and then there is the Chaiyo crew, including Mr. Sompote himself. So what's going to unfold is, and it's not going to be the whole thing, because just there are points where it's just utter background noise, and you're going to hear a lot of clicking and clacking. But the first portion is me sitting at a table. They sat me down, gave me some cold Thai food, because this event started at noon. I showed up at about 1:30. I kind of asked them, like, hey, am I too late? They're like, oh no, we just finished. We're finishing up lunch, and then we're going to start the ceremony. So apparently lunch was a big thing for this huge press event. I'm just going to kind of be jumping in and out, kind of giving you guys kind of the narration along with what the hell's going on, at least to give you guys a sense of this whole thing. But again, the whole event was too weird not to at least put out in some form, out there for people to hear for themselves. If anything, this is it's a neutral stance. I'm just going to put it at that. I'm just out there as a reporter. I'm not taking sides. Believe me, I know my history. I knew my history of these guys going in. So, pretty much, they invited me. I came out. I saw the whole thing. Again, the words fail me for how weird this afternoon was. But it was something that I am so glad I went to. So the first portion of what you're going to hear is, I believe it's Sampo. Now, my notes are a little rusty from that day, but I believe Sampo himself makes a bit of a speech before we sit down and we watch a video based on what is apparently Sampo's life. It reads like a North Korean propaganda video. That's the best way I can describe it. And I'm not saying that they're communists or anything like that. It feels like it's very manufactured. and almost a little too much of a tall tale. And then after that, I had to bolt out of there. You'll hear me. I'll stop it before I pulled out. I had to go move my car. After that, you'll hear a couple of interviews I did with with one of the men who's apparently in charge of the new Chaiyo produced Ultraman film that is apparently coming. I have no idea what the status of these things are. I'm gonna try to reach out to these gents in a few weeks. They did. They did give me their contact info, so they said, hey, write us, at the end of the summer, see what's going on, because the big push was the toy line and collectibles at this show or at this event, and the announcement of the Ultraman Blu-rays that they're putting out from Ultra Q to, I believe it was Ultraman Taro. I believe that's what I have off the top of my head. So, and those are apparently coming very soon, from what I have heard. So, we're gonna jump into the actual recordings now. I will hop in and out, kind of explaining what's going on. You're gonna hear people talk. There's a few translators for me because it was almost all in Thai. So, and I don't speak a lick of Thai. Even though I love Tony Jaa films and whatnot, I don't speak one word of Thai. It's a puzzling language to me. So you'll hear a translator. I don't have the gentleman's name, but pretty much they sat him down for me, so they can he can explain what's going on in the video. So without further ado, let's jump into the weird, wacky Chaiyo press event for Ultraman.
ฮัลโหลสวัสดีนะครับผมจะพูดถึงเรื่องกำเนิดของอุลตร้าแมนครั้งแรกผมเป็นเด็กเห็นพระพุทธรูปนะครับพระพุทธรูปที่เดินอยู่ที่วัดผมดูแล้วว่าน่าจะมาเป็นพระเอกผมก็เลยได้ไปเรียนที่ญี่ปุ่นเมื่อไปเรียนญี่ปุ่นระหว่างนั้นที่1962บริษัทโตโฮสร้างเรื่องทีมของจนคอซิล่าผมก็บอกอาจารย์ว่าครับคนทั่วโลกเนี่ยเด็กจะกลัวเพราะทั้งสองเนี่ยจะเป็นสัตว์ที่น่ากลัวกว่าผมก็มีความคิดว่าอยากให้มีมนุษย์ที่รูปร่างอย่างโตมีเสน่ห์หน้าตาสวยคล้ายพระพุทธรูปอาจารย์ก็บอกว่าขอให้ผมเอาพระพุทธรูปมาให้ดูผมเอาอัลบั้มที่ผมเตรียมจากประเทศไทยเนี่ยไปเปิดให้ดูพอท่านดูเสร็จแล้วท่านก็บอกโอ้นี่ตรงใจตรงกันเลยหน้าตาอย่างนี้น่าจะมาเป็นตัวอุลตร้าแมนเสร็จแล้วอาจารย์เห็นทุกคนก็ให้คุณโทรุในปากของคนล่างนะให้ผมดูกันเราดูเสร็จแล้วก็เห็นว่าจะเป็นตัวคาแรคเตอร์ของโลกเลยจากนั้นมันก็มีการสร้างและมีการฉายเมื่อวันที่27 กรกฎาคมปี1966นั้นหนังเรื่องนี้พอฉายขึ้นมาที่เป็นอันดับหนึ่งในประเทศญี่ปุ่นจากนั้นมาบริษัทUnited Artists ก็เอามาฉายที่อเมริกาและในอเมริกานี่เท่าที่ผมทราบว่าคุณวิล สมิธนี่ได้ดูตอน6 ขวบบอกกลับมาจากบ้านจะต้องวิ่งไปดูทีวีเรื่องนี้ให้ได้เมื่อดูเสร็จแล้วความฝันก็อยากจะเป็นนักแสดงจนกระทั่งตอนหลังเราได้ติดต่อผมก็ทราบว่าอยากเล่นมากผมมาอเมริกาครั้งนี้ผมก็อยากจะดำเนินการติดต่ออยากให้เขามาแสดงเรื่องอุลตร้าแมนโดยมีส่วนนี้จะเป็นเรื่อง
Alright, so let me give you a kind of a layout here. So, as I said earlier, there was the table and the Chaiyo executives and a couple other people. I had really no idea who the hell they were. And behind them are a bunch of cut-out Ultraman, and then there's a little, there's a TV to one side, and then there's just another table with a bunch of boxes and a little Ultraman figurine sticking out. And on the main table was a big Ultraman model kit with a Gamora one. And so those are the two big, they were like 18 inches. They're pretty good size. So I believe this is Sompote standing and talking, and he's giving a big lecture about his life. And the gentleman you heard kind of trying to explain to me was the translator that his buddy kind of would nudge. He's like, hey, for the because there was a another gentleman and his girlfriend next to me. The other gentleman was white and clearly didn't. Was looking at me. He's like, "Do you have any idea what the other?" I'm like, "No." So he didn't speak Thai either. So the person at the same table across from just starts translating. So you'll hear him pop in and out of these next few segments. Just kind of giving like a brief like Cliff Notes version of what's being said. So, and again, I don't even know if that's the exact words are being said. If you speak Thai, you know what the hell they're saying. Please let me know.
แล้วผมคิดว่าผมพร้อมเรื่องไว้แล้วว่าตอนที่ผมไปเรียนที่ญี่ปุ่นปี1982
He's trying to contact Will Smith to play Ultraman.
โตเกียวโอลิมปิกนั่นมันโตเกียวโอลิมปิกเลยผมว่าอุลตร้าแมนต้องเกิดปี
Also for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics
โตเกียวโอลิมปิก
he's trying to base the Ultraman movie on that event.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
5 ปีข้างหน้า
So yeah, so here was the first big thing. This was pushed all the way through the event too, and it was actually given to me in press notes right as I walked in that Chaiyo was going to produce 2 films. They're going to produce an Ultraman movie. It was going to be Ultraman at the Tokyo Olympics 2020, and they were pushing very hard on that. And of course, Will Smith's name was brought up a few times, which I don't believe they've ever talked to Will Smith. All that kind of stems from press they got from a previous appearance out here in the greater LA area about a year and a half back, when they were out promoting a book, and they were promoting Mr. Sampo as, hey, the creator of Ultraman, which got pushed here a few times too.
ญี่ปุ่นจะจัดโตเกียวโอลิมปิกอีกครั้งหนึ่งผมก็อยากให้อุลตร้าแมนได้เกิดมโหฬารไปทั่วโลกก็คือผมจะเอาเรื่องสตอรี่จากผมเคยสร้างเรื่องหนุมานพบ7 ยอดมนุษย์ผมเอาหนุมานยึดรถพระอาทิตย์ตอนนี้หนุมานกระโด่งดังไปทั่วโลกแล้วไปสั่งเสื้อแล้วนำชอบเอามาซื้อนั่นปี 2020 โตเกียวโอลิมปิกผมว่าจะเอาตัวโกงลาคือตัวนี้จะเป็นตัวผลิตนอนที่ญี่ปุ่นหัวอยู่ที่รัสเซียหางอยู่ที่นานาซากิหรือเซี่ยงไฮ้นั้นหัวอยู่รัสเซียหางอยู่เซี่ยงไฮ้แล้วเป็นตัวที่นอนยาวเป็นแบบที่ในญี่ปุ่นนอนอยู่คนนอนอยู่เนี่ยเขาจะม้วนแผ่นดินคือจะม้วนเกาะญี่ปุ่นจะเป็นม้วนแผ่นดินคือในเรื่องเราเกี่ยวเรามีตอนกี่วันยักษ์ม้วนแผ่นดินเสร็จแล้วอุลตร้าแมนจะมาปราบอุลตร้าแมนจะมาปราบอุลตร้าแมนจะมาปราบเนี่ยให้คลี่แผ่นดินออกมาเป็นเกาะอย่างเดียวเพราะช่วงนั้นเกิดโตเกียวโอลิมปิกก็จะมีคนทั่วโลกจะมาที่ประเทศญี่ปุ่นทั้งหมดนั้นเวลาผมละเมิดของม้วนไปได้ครึ่งเดียวก็ดาวเองจิตก็ส่งซึ่งตอนนั้นผมจะส่งให้คุณมีชีวิตถึงนักกีฬาวิ่งเร็วแล้วก็ได้รับพลังงานแสงจากดาวเองให้เป็นอุลตร้าแมนแล้วถึงจะ
Kaiju
ให้ปราบ
destroying all
เกาะญี่ปุ่น
this event and
จาก
killing all
ที่
these
เขาม้วน
people.
ไปแล้วก็ให้คลี่คลายมาแต่ระหว่างนั้นจะโกลาหลมาต่อเนื่อง
So right there, he essentially gave away the plot of his film and almost what seems like the entire story. From what I got, the gist of everything that was kind of given to me, the idea for this film is that there will be an alien invading Tokyo during the Olympics. It will cause a massive earthquake that will unleash Gamora. Then they call it Gomala in the press notes, and then I was like, Gomala, that's interesting. And then they hold up the maquette of Gamora. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not Gomala, that's Gamora. So Gamora will be assaulting the Tokyo Olympics, and Ultraman comes down, and what was explained to me is that he will be joining a host body of one of the Olympic athletes, which preferably would have been a track and field runner or something like that, which is where whimsical casting of Will Smith was supposed to come in. Again, this is all rumor, hearsay, and kind of just what they were throwing at me.
ทุกชาติในมาอยู่ในญี่ปุ่นเช่นจะเกิดสึนามิน้ำท่วมโลกจะเกิดแผ่นดินไหวจะเกิดการจมของเกาะทั้งเกาะญี่ปุ่นแต่อุลตร้าแมนมาช่วยได้นั้นผมก็เรื่องสั้นๆอันนี้ไว้แค่นี้แล้วเวลาจะทำสคริปต์แล้วค่อยไปเขียนขยายความซึ่งผมเชื่อแน่ว่าคนทั้งโลกจะเห็นเทคนิคพิเศษพวกนี้เพราะสมัยที่ผมเรียนที่ญี่ปุ่นเราทำกราฟิกไม่ได้สมัยนั้นต้องใช้เซดีที่มัน4-5 สถานที่แต่เดี๋ยวนี้ทางเทคโนโลยีของกราฟิกจะช่วยให้เราทำแผ่นดินไหวแผ่นดินถล่มน้ำท่วมฟ้าแล้วเหตุการณ์อะไรต่างๆซึ่งภาพสวยงามพวกนี้จะออกมาด้วยคอมพิวเตอร์กราฟิกนั้นผมมั่นใจว่าปี2020ที่อุลตร้าแมนจะได้เกิดแล้วก็ผมอยากจะให้เกิด
So yeah, so right there he's explaining he wants to do a pretty much an all CG Ultraman film, not unlike the promo video that Super Riot just put out. That was the big thing. Modern Hollywood special effects. That was the big thing. No suitmation, no guys in suits whatsoever. So that was the other big thing being pushed.
จากที่อเมริกาครับถ้าผมขอเรื่องย่อๆที่ความฝันของผมนะครับที่ผมมาครั้งนี้ครับ
Right, here we go. We're going to watch this video with Sompote's journey and history.
Okay, now right here, I forgot that this happened. Originally, Sompote was supposed to make his speech after this video. They had some technical difficulties getting the video up and running. The video was being shown on like an LG, 36-inch monitor. So, I'm sitting at one end of the restaurant, at the other end. I can see it fairly well, but it's not like it's a big, super big screen. It's an okay size screen. So, they're showing this Blu-ray of what is essentially the history of Sambo and the history of Chaiyo. They shows Hanuman and the 8 Ultraman brothers and a bunch of their other works. I'm going to play just a little snippet here and there because it's a much more visual thing. I didn't get any of the video whatsoever, and then at a certain point, I'm already pushing about an hour and a half sitting in here in the restaurant, and my meter's getting ready to expire. So I'm going to play a few little clips, kind of give you what we'll jump back into in a second. But pretty much, yeah, you can hear the video. At least what I'm seeing is just a collage of the Showa Ultraman, at least the ones that they have the rights to. So you're seeing Ultraman, a little bit Ultra 7, a lot of Ultra Q, some Jag Toro. This is just pretty much, everything that they're showing. It's just, big Ultraman push. At this point too, I forgot that they have the rights to John Borges, so they're pushing Jamboree too. I believe they're actually going to be putting out a DVD of the Jamboree Ace series as well. So they're showing pretty much highlights of Jamboree Ace at this point as well. Now you gotta imagine this is a room with about, I think, 70 people just for this event, and then on the other side there's actually people in, coming off the street still, coming in because the restaurant's still operating under normal hours. So everyone's just kind of like looking at this small screen, looking at John Borg, John Borg's highlight videos, and just captivated. Everyone, it's the weirdest thing. Now, at this time, I didn't realize that Paula from TokuNet she was there. She actually was there much earlier than I was. We hadn't met up at this point, so she's all the way at the other end. I believe sitting with the crew that is going to be in charge of these new movies that Child's going to be producing. That's she pretty much was on that end, so she saw everything I saw, and it was when we finally met up. We pretty much was like, this is like, I feel like we're in Twin Peaks right now. So pretty much just jumping forward just a little bit. They kind of go into Sompo's life just a tad bit. I don't want to play too much because actually we might be doing a review of a book about Mr. Sompo that our good friend Mark acquired. That's actually going to be a much more visual thing, so it'll probably be just a YouTube episode. It won't be a podcast episode. So I'm just going to play little snippets here and there, and then I'll come back with the grand revealing that they did for the product line.
His first movies, he had to do the camera work by himself. He wasn't a professional. He learned at a camera shop that only paid him $2 a day.
Alright, you guys get the idea. So, yeah, pretty much it was just about his time at Toho, and then when you start Chaiyo Studios, and then pretty much ends with him, in front of like a big Ultraman statue. They do show clips of his house, which is like, again, I'm taking a whole neutral stance on this whole thing. I will tell you this: the man is just a legitimate fan of Ultraman. Like, he loves Ultraman. He was beaming ear to ear with everything Ultraman around him. His house is a living museum to Ultraman. That much is very apparent. So, after the video was shown, while the video was shown, I got up. I had to run outside to grab my car and move it to a different location, pay the meter. So as I come back in, they just did the ribbon cutting ceremony announcing Ultraman USA Inc., their new production arm dealing with everything Ultraman and Jamboree Ace related for American and worldwide, distribution outside of Japan. That's the most important part right there. So what you're going to hear is a few snippets of pretty much the product unveiling, which they actually had some cool stuff and some really gaudy stuff in the form of these crystal Ultraman figures. I'm just going to play the audio, and I'll kind of jump in and out of like I've been doing with all this, trying to give you guys a better visual appeal. At this point, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, because I have pictures of all this stuff. So this will all be up on YouTube, and then it will be also in the show notes if you've downloaded this to listen to as a podcast.
I'd like to introduce Miss Crystal Montagon.
And also Miss Yuri Abu from Japan. Thank you so much to introduce the toy.
So pretty much they brought up these two lovely young women to pretty much be the Vanna Whites of the product unveiling. So one would pull up a box. Mind you, all the stuff was under boxes on a table. So they would pull up one box, hold up the figure. You'll hear a lot of flash bulbs going off as cameras are being clicked. So that's pretty much what these ladies were here for.
It's kind of like the old version. All right.
Okay, we're going to start with our small collection. It's a 5-inch from the Return Ultraman series. Yuri, right? Show the product. This is our 5-inch first product line. Looking small but handsome. Okay, the next thing, the following one is
Ultraman Ace mask.
So pretty much this was just a big mask that was mounted to a board, almost like it was a hunting trophy.
Right. The next one is Ultraman Jack.
These are the collector from Ultraman Jack series. The next one will be 14-inch from Ultraman Q series.
They keep calling Ultra Q Ultraman Q. And I believe, oh god, what was it? Was it Pigmon? I have to double check my notes. But yeah, it was just one of the Kaiju from Ultraman Q. They move on. The figures are, I mean, pretty much the first thing that they mentioned with the Ultraman Jack figurine was the smallest thing that they had. Everything else was about 10 to 18 inches. So, I mean, these are all like high-end collector's items.
All these are collectible and they are limited edition. Only 10,000 pieces going to be made in the world.
So pretty much, yeah, they really hammered that fact home.
Our next item is Hanuman.
So yeah, so they had a Hanuman figurine, pretty much ripped right out of the movie. If you've never seen the Hanuman movie, go look it up on YouTube. It is just amazing with how weird it is. But this is the Chaiyo own creation that appeared with the Ultra Brothers. I believe it was like the Ape Monster Army attack or something like that. I'm doing this very late at night, people, but yeah, it's the Hanuman figure of all things actually probably was the least intriguing of everything that they had. It's an okay sculpt. I mean, coming from a toy guy, it wasn't anything spectacular. The actual I'll say this: the Ultraman merchandise they plan on putting out is actually quite spectacular. Considering that nothing really of its ilk has ever been released stateside, and if all this stuff does come out stateside, yeah, I mean, it's a good time to be an Ultraman fan, I'll tell you that.
Hanuman is very beautiful in the color and also decoration with jewelry. These are product line that are coming out, and we are going to introduce you to our next project product. Go ahead.
Oh, that's cool.
This is going to be our next project.
So what it is, it's about a 15-inch moving Ultraman. It talks, it moves. It's pretty much it's Ultraman. He's got the Spectre Beam pose, and what he does is he moves, he talks. It make the center light flashes with it, and it makes pretty much sense. So what you're hearing is the actual figure, and it kind of does a karate chop too as it moves. It's kind of like those those animatronic banks from like the 90s. They used to be real big, kind of like the Star Wars ones where Vader, every time you put a quarter in it. He would play the Imperial March and he move, and his arm would kind of like jostle back and forth like he's having a stroke or something like that.
This is going to be our next project, upcoming. With the sound and movement, that will give, of course, children attention. We're going to move on to our premium product.
The premium products we have here. This is only one of 99 pieces made in the world.
This is a limited edition from Ultraman Taro series. Those are 12-inch, and also we have the bigger size here is the 14-inch. This is our premium product.
So these, if you listen to the episode where I was talking about this event, these are these crystal figures I brought up. They're the most gaudy looking things I've ever seen. But if you're into that sort of thing, which apparently there's a huge market for it, these are right up your alley. They are just pretty much figurines. They look like glass figurines you would see at like well, out here in California we have a lot of like dollar stores that are very Hispanic in nature. And there's a lot of there's little porcelain figures and stuff like that, and it's all very gaudy stuff. It looks like that, but it's actually quite high end, and yeah, it looks like pretty much someone assembled Ultraman out of a bunch of tiny little like diamond crystals. It's he pretty much stands in a box. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see if you can check it out in the show notes. I took a few pictures of them. Apparently they're going to run something like $10,000 or something like that, just because of the sheer price of the crystals being used. And they were very proud of these things. If I was, selling in America, this would not have been my first, second, or eighth, choice of product to push. I probably would have been moving, coloring books and, action figures through like Nick or somebody else like that if I was pushing Ultraman. But I'm not pushing Ultraman. These people are.
Okay, and also just let you know, the one on the 12-inch decorated by real crystal, 27,000 pieces, and this product 14-inch we're using up to 32,000 pieces of the crystal. So. And this will be a limited edition. Only 99 will be made in the whole world.
All right, from here we all right. At this point, the MC brings up the crew that will be working on not only Ultraman versus Gamala at the 2020 Summer Olympics, which is the tentative working title that was given, but also John Borg Ace versus Ninja Panda, the movie. That was the other title. They didn't go into much on John Borg Ace, but there was a lot of talk of how they'll be bringing Ultraman to life, and from this, I'm just going to let them do the talking.
All right, let's give it a hand. All right, moving on, I'd like to introduce our team here. So what we're going to do is we have a series of Blu-ray movies for Ultraman that we're going to try to distribute here in the U.S. That's going to be our first project, about 325 episodes. And we're also planning on making a feature film. The first one that Mr. Sompote wants to do is Jumbo A versus Ninja Panda. And then the second one he wants to do is Ultraman versus Gamala for the Japan Olympics in 2020. So I want to introduce our team here. First we have here Jonathan Dillon, he's the director. Hi, thank you for coming.
Yeah, this is Gamala, to show you the character.
Yeah, Gamala, this is where we'll be fighting in Japan.
Okay, they're holding up the big Gamora figurine. So that's Gamala, people.
In the film for the 2020 Olympics. Why don't you guys come up? It's Godzilla and Gamala.
Hey, I forgot they had a very large custom Jiris figurine up there with Gamora. This thing was beautiful. It looked like a custom piece. I forgot what kit it was, but it was definitely it was the exact match of what Jiris should have been. Just the frill and the paint job looked very custom, but it was an amazing piece. So I believe at one point they did mention, I think it's either in here or later on when I was talking to one of the guys, it might have been off Mike, that Jiris, they plan on using him for the film.
ที่ต้นแบบมาจากกรณีนรพานะครับเอาไปตัวละครในเรื่องรามเกียรติ์รามเกียรติ์เป็นควายค่ะ
Okay, moving forward, Brian, please introduce your team.
Alright, here we go. This is first off Jonathan Dillon, director.
Thank you, director.
This is Crystal Monticon, producer. This is my man right here, Paul Malaki. That's it, right?
Malaki, yes. Hi. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you. When I was a little boy, I watched Ultraman every day. And really excited to be part of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And next, right? Next, we have Johnny Cole, producer.
Yes, hi. Thank you for having us here. And Paul, also, I got into the fight with Godzilla, and so we were a little bit late getting here. So thank you for having us.
I'm Tony Herbert, writer, producer, director, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming out and being a part of this. Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, they all kind of come together with Sompo and the Chaiyo crew and take a big group photo. And then pretty much they closed out the whole ceremonies, and everyone was kind of left to wander about, which is going to lead to the more kind of interesting next two segments coming up. Alright, so what's coming up next is I got a chance to sneak over and get about 3 minutes with the production crew for the new film. So we get interrupted at one point, I believe, by one of the child producers. I'm just going to let this whole thing run all the way through because it kind of speaks for itself. I'm hoping to have these guys back on eventually. I did stay in contact with them. But what you're going to hear is just about 5.5 minutes of uninterrupted, just shenanigans.
Okay? Yeah. So you sit. Brian. Hi,
Chris?
Nice to meet you,
Nice
Chris.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, if you guys could just introduce yourselves for the people at home who have no idea who you are. I mean that in just the most sincere way.
Oh, absolutely. My name's Jonathan Dillon. I'm a director and producer and part of DKC Productions.
Okay.
Tony Herbert, I'm a writer-director and work with the producer of Transformers, Don Murphy.
Okay. And my name is Johnny Cohen. I'm a producer, director, writer, and actor.
Okay. And for the people at home, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Paul Malakny. I'm an entertainment attorney, and I'll be working with the project.
All right, cool.
Brian Kong, who just walked away, is the producer of the project, and I'm Crystal Monthicon, producer and actor.
All right, so what?
Okay,
it's kind of like a little
one
hectic
here,
right now.
one
So
more word for Mr. Kunpayut. Mr. Kunpayut has 100% distribution rights here in the USA, and he has set up Ultraman US Inc. Mr. Payut.
Thank you for everyone coming today. I have the rights, a product licensed from Mr. Sompote Saengduenchai. 100% we can do the products in USA and around the world, except in Japan and Thailand. Mr. Sompote give me the right to do all product Ultramans and everything. He can hand it to me at much he can. We do project by projects. And the first project is the 7 Ultramans. You can see on the left-hand side. And also the crystal, the 12-inch and the 14-inch. The limited edition 12-inch made by Crystal, 12,600 pieces on Ultraman's only 99 made in the world. Also the 14-inch 33,000 pieces of Crystal on is a 99 pieces made also. I would like to say thank you to Mr. Sompote Saengduenchai, give me the product license to do all Ultraman's collection, and also we're going to do the movies and animation movies in the future. And thank you everyone coming today, and also thank you for the teams from Brian and attorney and producer, directors, everyone coming today, and thanks again and again. Thank you very much.
Very limited time.
Also, I would like to thank you, Giraffe. Please stand up, please. She the one to create. She does everything for the Ultraman standing around me. Also, the gift set on everyone registered today. And thank you very much. Working so hard for 2-3 days in a row, day and night. Thanks again. Also, the last person, Gonzo sweat support, so to the crowd. They came today. I'm so proud and happy. Because so sweet and families. And thank you for the reporter and the newspaper. And thank you very much.
Okay. All right, that wraps up today's event. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming out and supporting Ultraman. Anybody who wants an autograph, come up. Yeah, I'll sign whatever you want.
Sorry, I got it.
Go ahead, sir.
Paul,
John, very nice to meet you. Sure, talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Yes,
I'll find you on Facebook.
Absolutely.
And I'll be in 2 minutes. Okay. Just want to do
Okay. So, for the people at home who just heard all that, I'm just going to kind of run this.
Sure.
You're going to be directing the new Ultraman, right? Is that what or the jam board?
Well, we're still discussing everything that's happening. The first priority, I think, for us is to get the old episodes out there. So we're trying to get the over 350 plus TV episodes that are released in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Like the first 5 series.
Exactly. Yeah. So we want to get that out first in terms of distribution, sort of get the buzz going again, and then we're going to start a approaching major studios and such. So
is it going to be currently? I mean, yeah, as you just explained, it's early, but it's going to be like a Thai American production. Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone involved who actually owns the rights are Thai, but we are looking at trying to turn it into a major studio project. So it would be something, you look at your Transformers, you look at your Power Rangers, that kind of thing.
All right, cool. So is there? Are we looking at what's the timetable on the DVDs we're looking at right now?
Again, still pretty early to say since this literally is the USA release of Ultraman. So nothing has been written down or locked in, confirmed as of yet, but we're trying to move fairly quickly. I think that over the next couple of months we should have a pretty good sense of where it's going, and then ideally we want to have the first film out before 2018. I think is the plan.
That's a good window too. But, you got new Godzilla movie that year.
Exactly.
Pacific Rim will be running hot. So
it'll be running hot. Yeah, I mean, of course, the Avengers will be coming out there, and the Avengers.
Exactly. So it's probably, a lot of people have been, especially in the fan community, have been asking. It's like, well, Godzilla's getting out there again. Pacific Rim's hot. So Ultraman's obviously the next one.
Right.
Really get up there. So.
Yeah. So we want to, try to strike while everything's kind of burning.
Can I ask how you got involved with this project?
Yeah, Brian Kong is the main catalyst for this. He's my business partner. We've worked on a couple of different projects together. We recently just shot a short film that we were doing, and his ties to he's from Thailand, so it's his ties through everyone that's here sort of piqued his interest, and he was like, this definitely feels like it's something that a lot of people would be interested in, and something that needs to be revamped. So we got behind it, and now we're actually pushing to get it here in the U.S.
Awesome. So it's like a little whirlwind right now. So
yeah, it is.
I'm kind of just kind of stumped right now for questions. So
yeah.
Is anything, any other details you can give us at this moment? I know it's early, but
yeah. Besides what they sort of announced here, I think we're gonna determine where we're gonna go first. There are multiple Ultramen sort of in that universe. There's Jumbo A. There's a couple different characters and different villains that sort of monsters that are licensed out. So I know originally the first plan was the Ninja Panda versus Jumbo A. Our Ultraman is sort of the bigger name out of the bunch, so it might end up being Ultraman versus a more common monster that he takes on. But that being said, again, it's really,
it's super early.
It's very early. So hopefully here within the next year we'll have a better sense of where we're going and at least what the project's going to be and who are the main characters that are in that project.
All right. Well, thank you again. Last word, do you have anything to say to any of the American fans out there who've been anticipating something Ultraman for like the last 15 years? At least stateside.
Yeah, I would say expect something big and exciting, and we are going to live up to the expectations. So, all
right. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Great.
All right. So that was that. And finally, to cap this all off, after I talked to those gentlemen, I met up with Paula. We were brought over to the main table where Mr. Sompo himself was conversing with the Thai media. We were told that once they were done, the two of us would be able to jointly interview them. So you're going to hear Paula ask questions on here. I already got full disclosure from her, so she's going to be in this. But please do go visit her site. The Tokusatsu Network, her and her crew do amazing work over there. If you're into Tokusatsu at all. Power Rangers, Ultra, especially they've been doing a bang up job covering Ultraman X right now. Anything Kamen Rider, Gao, all that stuff, all great stuff. Do head over there. It's tokusatsunetwork.com. I will have links in the show notes, so please show them some love. You could do me any favor in the world. They're great people. I can't hammer that fact home enough. So right now we're gonna hear our interview, broken, from English to Thai back to English interview with Mr. Sompo and his translator. Can I put a little preface it here? We were sitting at a table. There was, I believe, another conversation going on right next to us. Paul and I were kind of in the middle. There was a few other gentlemen talking, so you're probably going to hear them because I'm moving I have my recorder in my hand, so I'll go from asking the question and doing the whole recorder thing and moving it over as close as I can to the subjects. The recorder's pretty good at picking up a lot of other stuff, so there's this other conversation kind of going on along with it. I can't really edit out. It's all on the same track, and I have no idea what the heck they're saying. So just if you could bear with it. But right now, I figured this conversation was too important to pass up.
คือแฟนอุลตร้าแมนมันมีทั่วโลก
He said the fan of Ultraman is around the world.
ช่วยคุณสมัยในฐานะตัวแทนฝ่ายทุกคนก็รักคาแรคเตอร์นี้ผมก็อยู่เบื้องหลัง
And people love this character Ultraman.
โดยเฉพาะผมศิษย์มีอาจารย์เช่นอากิระ คุโรซาวะเอจิ สุริยะท่านให้คำสอนให้ผมสู้
He talked about his master. What's the Japanese name again?
อากิระ คุโรซาวะ
Akira Kurosawa and
เอจิ สุริยะให้คำสอนว่าให้ผมสู้
those gentlemen tell him to fight to get where he going.
คือท่านรักผมเหมือนลูกให้ผมสานต่อ
Those masters love him like a son. He's very respected.
You have a lot of original monsters, like Hanuman. Is there any plan? What inspired those original characters, like Elite and Dark and Hanuman?
อะไรที่เป็นเกี่ยวกับตัวหนุมานหรือว่าตัวมอนสเตอร์
อันนี้ผมว่าความเป็นเด็กผมช่างคิดช่างฝันตั้งแต่เด็กแล้วก็ผมมาไปศึกษาตามวัดก็ไปอยู่วัดอย่างที่ประวัติแล้วก็เราก็ดึงเอาศาสนาพุทธมาแสดงเพราะศาสนาพุทธคือธรรมะชนะธรรม
Okay, he talked about his childhood, inspired by those sculpture at the Thai temple, right? That's he wanted to bring in that culture to the teenage, make it fun, and we believe that Buddha is fighting for the light.
What do you feel is your ultimate direction for Ultraman in the United States?
Again, you said?
What is ultimate direction or goal for Ultraman in the U.S.
ทุกอย่างก็เลยรอจนหมดลิขสิทธิ์คือโครงการที่ผมว่าจะมาเปิดมิวเซียมที่นี่
Okay. The ultimate goal, we want to open a museum. Yeah, ultimate museum. He'll bring all the sculpture from his studio from Thailand, imported here. Is there and open an ultimate museum? That's our ultimate goal. LA, Hollywood, hotspot.
So to clarify on that, he was actually talking about bringing a lot of his personal collection to open up like a small Ultraman museum somewhere out here in LA. As to how solid those plans are, we don't know.
Are there any plans to resurrect Hanuman? To bring him back?
To bring back Hanuman.
ก็นี่หันมาก็เก็บยอดเก็บตัวแล้วก็จะทำ
Yeah, we're going to make a new movie. Hanuman with the 7 helmet, right?
Yeah.
We'll bring in like a new version of it. Oh, you're gonna reproduce into like a 2015.
So brand new, big, better
feature. Yeah. That's what he wanted to do.
Well, with this, does this allow you for any other side projects to go along with it? Like Hanuman, are there any plans to co-produce anything else with?
Yeah, I think so. He have เขาบอกว่ามี side project plan เราทำหนังอื่นด้วยก็มีจัมโบ้เอ Yeah, we going to make the new feature Hollywood film Jumbo with the Ninja Panda. That's one of them. And then another one will be the one that Will Smith that we're going to play. Ultraman with Gamora. Yeah.
What?
Continue. We're looking forward to. He loves to make movies. That's his. What his passion.
Well, Thailand became very big about. It gained a lot of.
I gotta stop for a second here because it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna almost feel like a who's on first scenario where there's a lot of lost in translation moments, especially coming up with, I believe, with a question Paul is gonna ask. So you have to realize we're sitting here, we're speaking through the translator to Mr. Sampo, and he's just a humble translator. He has this gentleman has not a lot of. It didn't seem like he had a lot of prior knowledge of what we were asking him, because we were asking him like super nerdy stuff. But he was a sport about it, and it looks like he was just kind of there doing his job. But God bless him for it. But yeah, it gets a little frustrating at points because we're trying to hammer home a question, and it's getting lost.
International notoriety in the industry, especially with Tony Jaa exploding. So, ever plan on getting Tony Jaa in one of these Ultraman movies?
Tony Jaa,
no.
Not him. Not the character that he wanted.
Not the character.
He's also director, producer. He want those characters that fit in the movie. He gonna make the way he wants it. The way he likes it.
Any plans to get back to directing? To direct one of these? Do you ever plan to?
ถ้าเราประสบความสำเร็จในเรื่องการร่วมสร้างด้วยคอลเลกชันมาเป็นโปรดิวเซอร์ด้วยไหมหรือว่าเป็นสเปเชียลเอฟเฟกต์ต่อไปเราจะขายคือสร้างมิวเซียมก็ผมต้องรวมถึงคอนโทรลด้วยตัวผมเองไปควบคู่กับอุลตร้าแมนแบบ
What's the idea who come out
จำลองให้คนเข้ามาเที่ยวได้เหมือนกับ
You're gonna take a wait and see
ก็ทำเป็น
เพราะผมทำหนังเนี่ยผมจะใช้ความคิดของผมเอง
เป็นสถานที่ว่า
จะไม่ตามมาคนอื่น
You want to make sure it's not copy anybody else. The way he wanted, right? The funny monster. The monster. Very much.
I mean, I'm just want to try to follow up on
Japanese funny monster.
The last big announcement was talking about Ultraman 2007. Is this any connection, any brand new? Is this announcement for to distribute Gina? Is there any connection with what you've been working on for Project Ultraman? Is there any connection with
เพราะเราต้องจดลิขสิทธิ์เพราะเรื่องลิขสิทธิ์สำคัญมาก
จากหนังเก่ากับหนังใหม่ที่เราจะทำไว้ก็มี
เราหนังเก่าที่ผมสร้างไว้คือ20 เรื่องเนี่ยความรู้สึก20 เรื่องผมเนี่ยสามารถจะเอามาสร้างให้ทันกับเครื่องมือสมัยใหม่
จะเข้ามาอยู่ในจุดนี้
He said based off the old story, but with the new technology. So those are going to connect.
Okay.
Where why now the image will be much more better than.
Now that you have this distribution setup, will we ever see Project Ultraman? The one you produced about 10 years ago. Ultraman Dark. Will we ever? Will the American fans ever get to see it?
Okay, a little backstory for those who don't know. Ultraman Project was an attempt by Chaiyo, I believe back in 2002, 2003, to make their own Ultraman movie. And they did. They actually shot a whole film. That were including 3 original Ultraman creations of theirs. In fact, one of the Ultraman standees in the back that you'll see in some of the pictures in the show notes is one of their Ultraman. And he looks a lot like Ultraman Powered, the American Ultraman that was made over here but never technically released over here. The film got shelved because Subaraya stepped in and sued the bejesus out of him to prevent them from ever coming out. There are tiny clips of it online. I'll try to find some to put into the show notes. It's a very interesting take on it, and so that's what Paul is asking here.
Of the old series? Yeah, of the Thai produced one. There was a video of it online. And it's been like a very mysterious project. There's not much known about it other than it was produced and it never saw the light of day.
So basically, he's the one that produced those, right?
So will we see it now that you guys have the rights? Will American fans be able to see?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
เขาถามว่าคนแฟนอเมริกันจะได้ดูหนังเก่าที่อาสร้างไว้ก็มี Yeah, we have the Blu-ray.
Yeah, the Blu-ray. Okay.
The DVD that I don't know you catch or not. We turn the old series. He turned the old series into the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So the image is much more clear.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
But we just need to do the voice over before we can commercialize the product.
Okay. And any words to American fans now that you're bringing Ultraman to them? For,
คำอะไรอยากจะบอกเข้าไปเขาจะได้ลงให้เลยว่ามีอยากจะบอกกับแฟนอะไรคำอะไรจะบอกกับแฟนว่าคอยดูผลงานอุลตร้าแมนตอนใหม่จำเลยHe said wait and see the new movie Jumbo A Ninja Jumbo A and Ninja Panda and also the Ultraman and more. So wait to see. He want the fan to be patient to see this, anticipate to exciting to see this new movie that we're gonna make. Tokyo 2020. Yeah, and he said again that's gonna be at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic.
It'll come out the same year.
Before it will come out before that, but the story will be set at the Olympic of 2020. He said Will Smith will be the fast runner guy. He could be the guy running. เส้นเดียวกับผมไปเรียนญี่ปุ่น1962โตเกียวโอลิมปิก1964แล้วก็ทำอุลตร้าแมนอันนี้คือโตเกียวโอลิมปิกนะชื่ออุลตร้ามังเนี่ยแปลว่าตอนแรกเลยอุลตร้าแมนเนี่ยตอนแรกเลย He said back in the day when he made this Ultraman Tokyo Olympic he went to Japan in 1962 and then the Tokyo Olympic was in 1964 so the first Ultraman movie was made for Tokyo Olympic.
Okay, so it's almost your homage to the original then.
That's you'll see the connect there, where we talk about those times in the Olympic back in the day. Now we talk about Olympic in 2020. What's gonna happen with Japan? ชื่ออุลตร้าแมนเนี่ยชื่ออุลตร้ามังนะแปลว่านักยิมนาสติกที่มีชื่อ Oh before name Ultraman is called Ultraman. That's the นักยิมนาสติกมีชื่อญี่ปุ่น The guy name ยิมนาสติก the best gymnastic guy.
They called him Ultraman.
ใช่
Okay.
อุลตร้ามัง
Never knew that.
ชื่อเขาหรือว่าชื่อเขา Oh that's the Japanese guy name ชื่ออุลตร้ามัง His name is Ultraman. So it came from this guy.
เขาเป็นนักยิมนาสติกอ่ะ
And he's a gymnastic. คนที่จะเล่นยิมนาสติกอันดับหนึ่งของญี่ปุ่นที่จะต้องได้เหรียญโอลิมปิก Number 1 ชื่ออุลตร้ามัง
อ๋อเป็นเหรียญ
ที่จะได้
รางวัลใช่ไหม
เขานักแสดงเขาเป็นนักยิมนาสติกที่มีฝีมือที่สุดในญี่ปุ่นคืออุลตร้าแมนแล้วในหนังใช่ไหมไม่ใช่ในเรื่องจริงในชีวิตจริงโอเคนั่นโตเกียวโอลิมปิกคนนี้จะเป็นนำให้เหรียญทองกับคนญี่ปุ่นแล้วเราก็มาตั้งชื่ออุลตร้าแมนจะเป็นภาษาอังกฤษแต่ภาษาญี่ปุ่นเรียกอุลตร้ามังเป็นชื่อของนักยิมนาสติกที่หนึ่งthat name is based from the true story. The guy who the Ultraman is supposed to Ultraman, right? But that's actually the real person name, who's Olympic gymnastic champ. That's where it coming from. And I think that's the guy they play in the movie. But not him that played in the movie, but
in the suit.
It's
คนดังในญี่ปุ่น
famous guy from Japan.
ที่ได้เหรียญทอง
Speaking of suits, do you guys plan on keeping the old style suits with the actor inside the suit? Do you guys plan on keeping that, or are you going to go in a different direction?
เราจะเอาคนใส่สูทเล่นหรือเปล่าไม่ใช่
เป็นกราฟิกนี่
No, probably 2015 probably no more suit, right?
So motion capture, like
เมื่อก่อนก็ต้องใส่สูทเล่นเนี่ย
so maybe like mocap the guys with the dots and then paint over them.
That's back in the day. At his museum have that suit. I saw it. But the new movie probably gonna be animation or the graphic.
CG. Okay.
Yeah, graphic.
ตัวใหม่
The new look.
New look.
ช่วงไปเมืองไทยกรกฎาคมต้องขอไปดูมิวเซียมหน่อยถ้าพี่สมพจน์อยู่นะคะถ้าอยู่นะคะเดี๋ยวขอเบอร์ไปกรกฎาเผื่อถ้ามีเวลาอยากไปดูมิวเซียม
คนก็แม่
ร้านกับจินนี่มันร้านนะ
ที่ผมทำยุคนั้นนะเราคิดไป100 ปีนะที่เช่นโทรศัพท์พวกนี้สมัยนั้นไม่มี
He say back in the day, the old Ultraman, when he make that films back in 1960 something, right? He already think about like 100 years further, like what special effect they can use, right? With maybe the small pin is like a phone or a watch.
Oh, okay, so
those are like
he also changed the changer thing too, so he doesn't hold up like this anymore. He does something different. Okay.
และอนาคตเนี่ยนะเมืองไทยเราเนี่ยคิดแล้วไม่มีใครเชื่อราชรถเราลอยไปเรื่อยด้วยพลังจิตราชรถลอยไปที่ไหนลอยไม่ต้องใช้แก๊สไม่ต้องใช้อะไรแบบพลังจิตลอยไปได้คือนั่นเทคโนโลยีเจอแสงแดดก็ลอยไปแล้วคือจะเป็นสายใหญ่ๆต่อไปเสียงเสริมใช้แสงพวกนี้มาใช้จะให้เทคโนโลยีซึ่งมนุษย์นี่จะเปลี่ยนไปหมดเลย
So the new movie is going to be the idea of more of further technology, right? You're gonna see some special effect.
So the new one will be original Ultraman. Is the new movie? Is that who you're gonna use? Out of the 7, out of the 5, out of the brothers. So there's Ultra 7, Ultra Toro, Ultra Jack. So you plan on using
Ultra Q.
Ultra Q.
That's the first one.
Okay. Well, no, I mean,
that's the original.
Yeah. That was the other suit. But of the Ultraman, there's the brothers. So there's Ultraman, and then there's Ultra 7, and then Ultra Jack. Do you plan on using Ultraman? Okay. Or not, so no, you're not going to use 7 or Ace or Jack right now?
He will use everybody.
Well, everybody will get used. Okay.
Yeah, all those guys will be released out of.
Pretty much, you're getting what I was getting at with like the loss in translation. I'm sitting here trying to ask him, "You're going to use the original Ultraman," and the translation is just it's going over everyone's head. So I'm just at this point nodding and going along with it.
Series with the one by one, and then I think he planned to make one Hollywood film with everybody.
Oh, okay. So all the brothers.
All brothers gonna meet in one of the films.
ก็เราเอาบูเรมาฉายเขาได้ดูเขาชอบไหม
Did you watch? Get a chance to watch the Blu-ray?
I watched most of it. I had to go pay my parking.
But you saw?
I saw. Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
He asked how you like the quality.
Oh, it looks brilliant. There's no Blu-ray in America. There's no.
I do even that. The Blu-ray transfer did look very nice. I say that with no ego or anything like that. It looked like a nice transfer.
You have $5 Target. That's all you can get in the first series, and it's all taken from TV. So it's not really that good.
ในอเมริกาได้ดูได้มีแล้ว
Are there existing Blu-ray? No, right?
There's no existing Blu-ray. No, not in America.
เขาได้ดูในนี้ยัง
เขาได้ดูแล้วเขาถึงบอกว่าชัดมาก
ดูที่นี่
ใช่
มานี่นะเริ่มมาไม่
เขาบอกไม่มีที่อื่นไม่มีชัดอย่างนี้
เราจะมาให้
เขาทำเป็นอันนี้ทำมาใหม่ยังไม่มีใครเห็น
นิวบูเร
New Blu-ray.
Yes.
แล้วนี่มีบูเรก็มีอุลตร้าคิว
Dude, we don't have
Ultra Q. He already convert to the Blu-ray.
แล้วก็ Ultramanแล้วก็ Ultra 7
Ultra 7. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Ultra 7. I love Ultra 7. Ultra 7, yes.
A lot of people fan of Ultra 7.
ตัวไหนอ่ะไม่มี
ไม่มีพี่เมย์ไม่มีก็ไม่มีตัวทาโร่คนก็ชอบ
Do you guys have special features planned for them already?
Behind the scenes special features.
Any behind the scenes stuff with the Blu-rays? Like the special features, like besides the episodes, do you have like featurettes or anything like that going with them?
ในบูเรเรานอกจากทำหนังบูเรแล้วมีฟีเจอร์อย่างอื่นไหม
ค่อยๆไปฮะมีทุนแล้วค่อยๆทำไปเลยเพราะหนังผมก็จะทำดูเลยผมไกลทองเนี่ย
Can wait and see. Okay.
Just that for now.
Well, the fact that you're even putting out a Blu-ray is astonishing enough because we don't have any of that in America. But Ultraman is one of the hardest things to get a hold of in America.
Yeah,
so.
Because anything that I have to talk to him first.
Believe me, when I asked that question, the irony was not lost on me about what I was asking.
Yeah.
You're the one that owned the right to this collector.
Exactly. So American fans are very appreciative that you're bringing Ultraman fully to the United States.
ที่เอาอุลตร้าแมนมาทำเสนอให้เด็กๆดูให้เด็กๆได้ดูให้แฟนได้เห็นกันครั้งหนึ่ง
แล้วก็มีคนผู้ใหญ่เนี่ยส่วนมากชอบอุลตร้าแมนคือไม่เป็นพิษเป็นภัยกับเด็ก
They say the adult like the Ultraman too because the
สอนธรรมะ
funny is not like anything too scary.
จะหน้าแล้วก็มาจับพระพุทธรูปอยู่ในหน้านี่
The Ultraman face from the
บูดา
Buddha.
อันนี้ก็คือการจับมือกันของบริษัทชัยโยใช่ไหมคะประเทศไทยกับอุลตร้าแมน USA ใช่ไหมคะวันนี้นะคะ
ใช่ครับถูกต้อง
ขอพวกเราช่วยสนับอุลตร้าแมนอินให้ด้วยจะได้เกิดกันนะมันจะได้มีพลังที่จะ
She
สร้าง
said together Chaiyo Studio and Ultraman USA today is we will partner up to commercialize business in US.
Best time to do it.
Best time, and we have a good team, good support here. ช่วยเราพัฒนาพวกนี้
Well, I think that's all we have right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
All right, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was my interview with Mr. Sampo, a controversial figure in our circle of fandom. Pretty much that also brought to the end of the event as well. Before I left, though, they snapped a few pictures of the, big white dude for all the Thai media, giving the thumbs up to all the Ultraman stuff. So I'm pretty sure I'm in a Thai paper somewhere. If there's any people in Thailand who have any pictures from this announcement, and there's a large fat white guy with a beard rocking the thumbs up next to Ultraman and Gamora, please shoot it my way. That's probably me. Other than that, yeah, I just this whole episode is just stuff I wanted to get out. I was sitting on this. I felt it was interesting enough to release out there. The fact that I believe there's not many English based interviews with Mr. Sampo himself. So it was something to say the least. And also a nice documentation of this weird and wacky day. Again, I went in neutral. Paula went in very neutral. We were there as press. We were coming as press. What our knowledge ahead of what we knew ahead going in, we kind of just checked that at the door, and we're just there to see what they had to offer. And actually, what they had to offer was a nice little goodie bag featuring an Ultraman standee and a little kind of like an 8x10 print signed by Sampo himself. So I have that sitting here, and it's a very unique item, to say the least, that goes into my collection. So, alright, well, that will do it for this special edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. We will be resuming our normal podcast episodes next week, as Jessica and I are pretty much completely winding down for the convention season. We had a lot of stuff over the last month, so I wanted to put this out. I figured this was better time than not. It's a few months out, so hopefully no one yells at me after this. I don't think so. I was there as press. As always, please go visit Paula and the rest of the crew over at the Tokusatsu Network at tokusatsunetwork.com. They do fantastic work over there. As always, you can find more of my work on therealmcast.com. in all the various podcasts I host over there. As always, you can download this episode on our sister site, panzercrush.com, which is the host site for the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. You find Jessica on Twitter. Please inbox her as she requests before you strike up a conversation with her, just to kind of put the feelers out there. You can always find us on Twitter at the Kaiju Kingdom. We're on Facebook. That's where I do a lot of our updating. We're on Tumblr too. That gets updated whenever I can get around to it. And yeah, that'll do it for this edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. So for myself, for Paula, and for Jessica, who's here in spirit, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.